Hello, everyone. Welcome to now session 5 of Product University. I am joining from my house. The Wi-Fi was down at HQ, so I got to stay nice and cozy and I'm wearing PJ pants. But I so appreciate you all joining me today. I saw Miss Kim Johnson mention time flies when we're having fun, and it absolutely does. I cannot believe we are over halfway through these sessions. We have just a few more before we wrap up, and you all are Product University graduates. So without further ado, let's get into the content today. As I had mentioned last week, we are going over the Lifening products, beauty supplements, the supplement industry in general, and how we can really appreciate these products to their full potential. So with our concept of lifening, of course, there are many offerings in lifening in Korea. We have a few offerings here as well. We always look at the saleability of our products to see if they really have valid potential in our specific market. And so that's why we have the specific ones we have today, but there is so much room for growth as well. Now, when we look at the supplement industry overall, of course, many of the things we consume influence not only our health, but the health of our skin. We have, our daily diet, those foods and snacks, but we also have the opportunity for dietary supplements. Now, these are things that are typically vitamins, minerals, capsules, herbs that claim to promote wellness and well-being. Now, I'm sure many of you have been directly targeted by much of the marketing on supplements. There are so many trending supplements in the industry. This powder is going to make you lose 10 pounds before summer. This one's going to make your skin clear up by winter. All of these robust claims. But what's important to understand with the supplement market is that oftentimes they are supplemental to things that you are otherwise lacking in your diet or in your daily routine. So if you're not deficient in something, you might not see the same results someone else will. Similarly, if the product is working only to a specific degree because of the unique system and ecosystem really of someone's body, might not work the same way for you. So this is always really important to keep in mind. Really, I encourage you to practice partiality in the selection of your supplements, of course, outside of the Lifening supplements. These are go-to for a majority of the people. Now, in the addressing of deficiencies, you might look for, vitamin deficiencies. Many individuals take vitamin B, vitamin D, and vitamin C. But you can also look towards things that might help in lowering your cholesterol, like fish oils. General, really side activities or side products to maintain that general health without directly getting medication or medical intervention as well. So all of this considered, the supplements we have today come in so many different formats. We have gummies, pills, powders, tablets. Even when I was in Korea, they had these singular sheets, like Listerine sheets almost, of magnesium, and you would let it dissolve on your tongue. So many different formats. Very difficult to choose what is necessary for you. And so ultimately, I always encourage you to get some labs to see how you're doing, what your levels are in your body, what you might be deficient in. Of course, always consult with a practicing medical professional. But in that same consideration, when we create products as a brand, when we create supplements, we have to understand all of this and understand that we're educating this way. So how do we create products that have implied utility for the majority of people, regardless of your levels, your deficiencies, or lack thereof? Now, in the consumption of daily foods, and of course, in the consumption of these supplements, many of them directly interact with your gut microbiome. You may remember the discussion of the microbiome from previous sessions. In session 2, we talked about the skin microbiome, session 3, the scalp microbiome, but the gut microbiome is a beast in its own right, and it's extremely powerful and potential in the general health and well-being of your day-to-day. Now, in your gut microbiome, we have roughly 1,000 different species of bacteria just solely in this gut microbiome. And there are thought to be more bacterial cells in your body than human cells. Now, later studies have suggested that might be less true, but that was the initial understanding, is that there are millions and billions of these little guys, so to speak, in your microbiome. And so the gut microbiome plays a direct effect and direct influence in gut health, and it also may play a role in the opposite of it, in the proliferation of specific diseases such as irritable bowel syndrome or inflammatory bowel disease as well. And for example, the bloating, the cramps, the abdominal pain and pressure you may feel in any of these diseases can actually directly be from the gut microbiota, because they are producing gas that is causing such discomfort. And so Understanding the microbiome, its role in not only your gut health, your digestion, but also your external health, your disposition, is really important in determining a self-care routine. Now, with Raymond, as you know, we take that holistic approach. So we are looking for every way in which we can take care of you, both your skincare, hair and body care, but also internally as well. And so I illuminate all this to really bring it home with the establishment of what is known as the gut-brain axis. This is the direct and bidirectional connection and communication between your gut microbiome, your gut in general, and your brain. So more information passes between your brain and your gut than any other body system. There are actually more nerve cells in your gut than anywhere else in your body, of course, in comparison to your brain having the most. It works very closely, it being your gut, works very closely with other systems as well, your hormone system to regulate, hormones that have hunger signals, satiety signals, but it also helps regulate immune function. Roughly 70% of your immune system is actually housed in your gut. So this gut-brain axis in your gut in general is so important to understand. Now, the crosstalk between your gut and brain influence a variety of things. Your hunger and satiety, especially with that hormone regulation, food preferences and cravings, even digestion, metabolism, and immunity. But specifically within your gut, we are looking at this complex inner working of not merely the nerves and the different cells present, but also of the metabolites and the microbiota that exist. Your gut has its own nervous system, and this is known as the ENS or enteric nervous system. So it's made up of roughly 500 million neurons, most complex neural network outside again of your brain. So it's unique in that it can almost operate independently from your brain. So sometimes it's referred to as the second brain. But the ENS is crucial in that it actually produces and houses roughly 90% of your serotonin and roughly 50% of your dopamine. And of course, many of you may know these are your happy neurotransmitters. They are your content neurotransmitters, so really important for good disposition. But it also helps produce GABA, which is a neurotransmitter that allows for a calming effect, so equally important in that balanced mood. Oops. And so with the establishment of the enteric nervous system and all these different produced metabolites and neurotransmitters, alterations in this bidirectional brain gut, communication, and specifically alterations in the balance of the microbiota present can really show in the pathogenesis of many diseases like IBS, like IBD, but further studies as well have shown additional correlations between your gut and your brain specifically in disease. So we have seen things that really illuminate the gut-brain axis and the relationship between the gut and the brain when there's dysbiosis in the gut in things like non-cardiac chest pain, infant colic, gastroparesis as well, chronic fatigue, obesity, and it's also shown in things like autism and Parkinson's disease. With individuals having these autism and Parkinson's disease, there's also a correlated dysbiosis in the gut. So I highly encourage you to study more in depth on the gut-brain axis because it is crucial to your day-to-day health and well-being to have a balanced microbiome and overall a balanced enteric nervous system to have so many other benefits. Of course, you get that healthy digestion, but you also get that improvement in mood, the avoidance of depression and anxiety, etc. So with this connection between the gut and brain, there's another connection that our gut has within our bodies, and that is of the gut-skin axis. So very similar explanation, and that it is again a bidirectional connection, but this time between your gut and its microbiota and your skin. So really here, the important mediators in the gut-skin axis are inflammatory mediators and their metabolites. So lifestyle changes and habits, diet, hygiene can ultimately determine the impact of these various microbiota on the immune system and specifically on commensal microbiota. So these are microbiota that come and go, that are not permanent within your microbiota. These lifestyle impacts and changes can determine ultimately what commensal microbiota are coming in contact with your gut microbiome, which in combination with potential genetic susceptibility can lead to microbial dysbiosis and disease. So really here again, we are seeing the importance of balanced dietary habits and good hygiene practices to maintain your gut microbiome, not only again for previous your mood, but now also for your skin to lessen the chances of inflammation and thusly to lessen inflammatory skin dermatoses specifically. Now, the gut skin axis, while it often has shown that whatever is in your in your microbiome influences your skin, it's also kind of bidirectional in the sense that what is applied to your skin and what your skin experiences can also influence your gut microbiome. For example, when skin is irradiated by UVB rays, so essentially those UVB rays hit the skin, it can actually increase a specific level of a bacteria in the gut microbiome. So it can directly influence what is present in the microbiome just simply by being exposed to sunlight. So that's where we really see that bidirectional connection. But specific to the importance of skin health with the gut microbiome, it has been shown a direct correlation with dysbiosis in the gut to skin diseases such as atopic dermatitis, psoriasis, acne vulgaris, and even skin cancer. So there is actually still a lot to be understood and studied within the gut-skin axis. Specifically, the gut-brain axis is really where all the foundational information and framework is. But this is still something that is valid. It is certified as true that we have this direct communication between our skin and our gut that is directly modulated by inflammation, in which you have inflammatory skin types. You may also have gut dysbiosis or inflammation in the gut. So, how do we help support this gut microbiome? Well, of course, it is in the consumption of a variety of different foods, things that have healthy fats and have micronutrients and vitamins and minerals, but also it is in the consumption of a good amount of fiber. So, fiber deficiency is huge in today's day and age. Many of us, even those that have very active lifestyles and look to really supplement that with nutritious foods, focus more on protein and macronutrients rather than fiber, but fiber is crucial to your day-to-day. Now, dietary fiber is found naturally in fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and legumes, as I always like to say. And it's essentially part of the plant food that your body cannot digest. And there's two different types of dietary fibers. You have your soluble fibers, which dissolve in water and creates that gelatinous or gel-like material. And you have your insoluble fibers that simply help promote the movement of material through your digestive system. Essentially, the waste that is within your intestines packs around this insoluble fiber and allows it to be cleaned from the intestines. Consumption of dietary fiber helps in so many different ways. It, of course, normalizes your bowel movements. It maintains that gut health. It can even lower cholesterol levels. And so specifically with soluble fiber, it interferes with the absorption of a compound known as bile acid. Essentially, this is utilized for digestion, but if none is present, then the body will use cholesterol instead, thusly helping lower the levels of cholesterol. Furthermore, water-soluble fibers, including psyllium, could help reduce blood triglycerides, blood pressure, and even the risk of heart disease. So there was a specific review done in 2020, and they looked at 11 different trials on various psyllium-specific applications for body health, and it found directly that it helped lower the chance of high blood pressure, thusly lowering the chances of hypertension. So fiber is so simple and so fantastic for your body in a robust amount of ways, but we do not get enough. Many of us do not get enough. Now, the daily recommendations for fiber, of course, vary upon your age and your gender. So women under 50 are recommended 25 to 28 grams a day, above 50, roughly 22. Men under 50, 31 to 34 grams a day, and men above 28 grams per day. And of course, this is going to vary based on you and your uniqueness. So of course, always consult with a practicing medical professional if you are curious on how to maximize your health via the consumption of fiber. It is crucial to get your fiber in natural forms, be it those foods, but of course there exist many supplements to help you get just over the edge. And our Deep Talk Plus is a perfect example of that. Now note here that our Deep Talk contains only 4 grams of fiber, so definitely want to maintain a high fiber diet otherwise. But specific in the appreciation of fiber as a health tool, it's really important to look at the use of prebiotic dietary fibers. So this is fiber that specifically functions as a carbon source or food for the beneficial taxa or microbiota in your body. Essentially, that microbiota processes this prebiotic fiber and produces specific metabolites, produces short chain fatty acids that directly modulate your system. They can either directly be neurotransmitters in that they're producing the serotonin or the dopamine, or they can be producing things that help with your digestion or a reduction in inflammation as well. Now, also, what's important to note with Deep Talk Plus is that it does not contain any probiotics. We are solely looking at the discussion of prebiotics. Probiotics are going to be those living microorganisms themselves. So you might have a probiotic yogurt or a supplement as well that contains live cultures. This here is solely the food for those live cultures. Now, also what's key is that while all prebiotics are fiber, not all fibers are prebiotic. So I always encourage to take a look, just do some quick research on what foods you are consuming that can be considered prebiotic in nature. And the specific benefits of prebiotics apply very similarly to the benefits of fiber in general. We're seeing again that regulation of bowel movements, but also that production of neurotransmitters to help with mood changes and stabilization. It stimulates hormone production to aid in appetite suppression, which thusly helps in weight management, and it may improve your immune system by reducing your anti-inflammatory response. So fiber is crucial, as we've mentioned, but also prebiotic fiber is equally important to maximize the benefits of fiber consumption. And thus, to offer you a solution to this, we have our Deep Talk Plus fiber supplement. So Deep Talk prioritizes psyllium husk as a fiber source. And ironically, that 2020 study I had just mentioned a few slides back, where they looked over 11 different trials, all were looking specifically at the application of psyllium husk in the lowering the chances of hypertension. So psyllium is well studied, well utilized in the industry. It's a soluble fiber that's derived from the husks of the psyllium seed. Now, many of you may be familiar with its application in products like Consul or Metamucil, but as you may know, those are powdered formats. We offer our psyllium in a compact pellet form. That natural gelatinization process that occurs with prebiotic dietary soluble fibers doesn't occur until these pellets have reached your intestines. As they begin to gelatinize and absorb that water, they slow digestion and increase nutrient absorption. At the same time, however, in slowing digestion, they help with those feelings of satiety or of being full. And most importantly, in the absorption of intestinal water, they can remove impurities from that water, thusly helping in that detoxifying effect. Now, with the application of Deep Talk Plus, it's important to note that it does not cause contractions like a stimulant laxative, nor does it draw excess water to soften stools like an osmotic laxative. Of course, if you're someone that is brand new to taking Deep Talk Plus, or you're not eating high fiber foods outside of Deep Talk Plus, you might notice a change in your movement habits. This can easily be remedied by addressing your diet or even addressing how much of the detox you're taking or when you are taking it. For myself, I take it at the end of the day. It sets me up for success the day after, but I know many people that take it first thing in the morning or they take it with their biggest meal. I also know individuals who half the packet and find that that's most comfortable for them and their digestive needs. So feel free to experiment with this product. As I've mentioned, supplements are very rarely one size fits all, and we tried our best to create something that is one size fits most. So help it fit you specifically in how you are consuming it. Now, also what's important with this Deep Talk Plus is that the entire packet pellet goes, entire packet of pellets goes into your mouth with 10 ounces of water. And that 10 ounces of water is so important. That's really going to help the product actually be efficacious and to work. It gives it some water to really absorb and begin that gelatinization process. Now, I, of course, acknowledge that there is no coating, there's no sugar onto this, so it is quite bitter like the psyllium. I find that adding a little bit of Mio or flavor drops to my water is the perfect way in which I can take this easily. Beyond the psyllium, which we so often promote, we also have zinc in formulation for potentially immune support. But we also have glucomannan, which is another soluble dietary fiber to support that blood sugar and cholesterol. There's aloe vera in formulation that may support digestion and lower inflammation. There's kudzu extract, which may support menopausal and cardiovascular health. And there's even ginger for further digestion support. So take a look at the ingredient list. There's a lot more going on beyond the psyllium. It's so much more than a fiber supplement. Realistically, it's a microbiome mediator. We're setting you up for success, by giving you some of the tools to make your microbiota happy. But of course, this comes along with a balanced diet that is already high in fiber intake. Oops. All right, and so now we will transition to our other product being, of course, the Beauty Collagen EX. So within the supplement category, we specifically have what are known as beauty supplements. Now, these are products that contain healthy ingredients for ultimate purposes of aesthetic benefit, for promoting hair growth, promoting skin, yeah, no, promoting skin health, nail health as well. It's meant to supplement your topical self-care routine for additional aesthetic benefits. And we've seen things in collagen, of course, fatty acids like omega-3 and omega-6, linolenic and linolenic or linoleic acid, biotin as well. So many different beauty supplements exist in the industry. And also, I might even include in here those different weight loss fads that you might be seeing, because again, that's kind of a step towards aesthetics and towards that feeling of confidence. But when we focus on the specific category of collagen within beauty supplements, there are so many different potential opportunities for collagen supplementation. There is actually 28 different types of collagen in your body, but there are five that are most relevantly supplemented. So our type 1 is the most abundant structural protein in our body overall. It makes up 90% of our collagen stores, and it specifically makes up roughly 80 to 85% of our dermis specifically. So that second layer of skin where we have the extracellular matrix, collagen and elastin, all that good stuff. It's also found in tendons, ligaments, in your bones or teeth. But type 2 is predominantly located in the cartilage, so it's going to help with, of course, that cartilage function. Type 3 can also be found in the skin, but it makes up only about 10% of that storage. And even type 5 can also be found in the skin, but in this instance, it's at a microscopic level, solely found in the dermal epidermal junction, so where the epidermis meets the dermis. So when we are looking at the supplementation of collagen, more often than not, formulators are looking at those top five most relevant, and most relevant for us as our skincare brand in telling a skin story is that type 1 collagen being the most abundant structural protein. Now, to get collagen naturally and through your diet, there's a couple of ways in which you may do so. You, of course, can directly eat rich collagen sources, such as bone broth or even fish skin, or you can consume foods that are rich in the necessary building blocks to synthesize collagen. That's going to be things like amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. So you can see listed here, I've suggested some of those examples: proline, which can be found in egg whites, glycine, which can be found in a variety of different skins and gelatin, vitamin C found robustly everywhere in citrus fruits and bell peppers, zinc and copper. And especially with that vitamin C, its ability to help in the synthesis of collagen extends beyond the internal. And that's why oftentimes you will see vitamin C in anti-aging formulations, because it greatly helps in the improvement of collagen stores. Now, to directly supplement collagen, if you are not getting it directly from your food, there's a couple of different ways in which one may harness it essentially and process it to create a product suitable for consumption. And so collagen supplements come in so many different forms. You have your powders, you have your premixes, your drinks, and your pills. But there's also so many different sources. You have bovine, chicken, you have marine as well, which is relevant to us. More recently, you also have the trending concept of vegan collagen. And so I wanted to make a note here that there's really such thing as vegan collagen. It's made up essentially of genetically modified yeast and bacteria. Now, to produce vegan collagen, four human genes that code for the production of collagen are added to the genetic structure of a microbe. Once the genes are in place, the yeast or bacteria then start producing the building blocks, or essentially the amino acids of human collagen. Then a digestive enzyme known as pepsin is added in to help with the organization and structuring of those amino acids into a structure that looks like human collagen. So if you're simply preferring that nonetheless, because you're looking to avoid any animal sources, absolutely go for it. There's nothing wrong in that, but just be mindful if you are being marketed vegan collagen specifically. Now, because collagen is a very large molecule, it must be broken down to be readily bioavailable for the human body. And as you can see here, this is the typical process it goes through. We'll have that intact collagen fiber, and it'll go through denaturation, in which the fibers essentially untwist. And we have there gelatin, which you can go towards and start making puddings and jellos. But if you go one step further during degradation, that's when you get peptides. And so for us in our Beauty Collagen EX, we stopped here. But some may go further via hydrolysis to create amino acids. So definitely crucial to break down the collagen to make it bioavailable for the human body. Now, there are so many different postulated benefits for the consumption of collagen. And of course, the ultimate benefits depends on the purity and the quality of the collagen, the source of the collagen, and the type that is present in that source. For example, we prioritize marine-derived collagen because it is 100% type 1 collagen. But you might find another sample that has type 2, type 3, etc. And so some of the benefits of supplementing collagen include hydrating the skin, improving elasticity, improving hair and nail growth, strengthening bones and muscles, and even easing joint pain. And that's especially for type 2 collagen. Now, crucial to the understanding of how collagen impacts our body, it's also important to acknowledge that both topical collagen and oral collagen does not absorb and become collagen in our bodies, although we wish it would. Realistically, we are giving your body amino acids, and your skin and your body knows how to synthesize things from these. So your body will choose to do what it may with the consumption of the collagen, but we have found that it directly benefits the skin from within by consuming these specific amino acids and peptide chains. So even though the body is left to its own design, it still comes back to the ultimate purpose of skin health specifically. Now, in the consideration of collagen, I have many individuals often ask if they'd rather do topical or oral. Which should they choose? Let me fix my window right now because I have slants all over my face. All right. So, what's crucial here is understanding the format of the collagen in these different products. With your topical collagen, it's really administered to a specific area on the skin or body, and it's most often known to boost moisturization specifically. Collagen, even broken down into a peptide, is still a pretty large molecule, so more often than not, it sits on the surface on the epidermis to attract water as a humectant, which is absolutely perfect and has very robust efficacies in moisturization. Oral collagen, on the other hand, is metabolized for a variety of benefits, such as we previously mentioned, can support your skin, but also could support your joint health, your eye and teeth health, bone health. And so, realistically, the way to maximize the performance of collagen is to use such products synergistically or in combination. So, maximize the collagen in your topical routine, but also continue to consume it in your supplements to get the most benefits out of this specific peptide and specific amino acids. Now, with Riman, we of course have our collagen 100 melting mask as an option, but our dermatology cream also contains collagen peptides. So you have a couple of ways in which you can harmonize the collagen topically and in consuming it as well. And so with consuming the collagen, we of course offer our Beauty Collagen Ampule, which is a marine-derived type 1 collagen, and it's specifically derived from Nile tilapia that is farmed. So that allows us to maintain the quality of the fish to make sure that you're eating the proper nutrients prior to the sourcing of the type 1 collagen. Now, it is hydrolyzed into low molecular weight peptides for that enhanced bioavailability. And what's key here is that low molecular weight. As I just mentioned, with the peptides in skincare, they're still pretty high molecular weight. So more often than not, they sit on the surface of the skin. Same is true for the consumption of collagen. The peptides based on their amino acid sequence can still be large and can interact differently with your body rather than one that is much lower in its molecular weight. And so here we use low molecular weight peptides, and we've shown that they are highly bioavailable in the testing done by the raw material supplier. The efficacy of these collagen peptides and the design behind them being so uniquely efficacious at just 2 grams of supplementation caused them to submit this specific ingredient to the JR52 award, and thusly it is the first collagen ingredient in Korea to win the JR52 award, or excuse me, IR52 Jongyong-sil Award. There we go. So this is a award that started in 1991. It's sponsored by the Ministry of Science and Technology, and it really looks towards the recognition of technological advancements, how technology is applied to products developed by Korean companies or technology labs to really improve day-to-day life, but to really also improve the competitive landscape. And so this specific ingredient was recognized for that benefit. It was looked at for its technological importance, originality, the economic value, and its technical spilled over effect as well. And so that, of course, is not the only ingredient that's included in our Beauty Collagen EX. We have hyaluronic acid, wheat ceramides, biotin, selenium, and glutathione, and even our giant young pole extract. Now, hyaluronic acid is shown to actually impart skin hydration and also joint lubrication upon oral consumption. Wheat ceramides, of course, ceramides are a natural component of your skin barrier, and so it complements your skin barrier internally, in which tests have shown that the consumption of these wheat ceramides directly helps with the benefit of skin barrier strengthening. Now, of course, in the inclusion of wheat ceramides, we of course have wheat in the name, and so we must put wheat in the allergen listing on the box. But this is a unique ingredient because the wheat ceramides are taken from the lipid of the wheat plant and are actually free from the allergen associated with gluten intolerances and celiac disease. Of course, we take allergies very seriously, so we ultimately recommend consulting with a practicing medical professional. But if you're someone that perhaps only has a weak sensitivity to wheat and you want to try this out with that detail, I invite, or rather, I encourage you or invite you to do so. And so specifically, this format of these lipids is actually considered gluten-free by the GFCO certifications. And so alongside the wheat ceramides, we have biotin, vitamin B12. And so this is a unique supplement in which it really only helps if you have a deficiency. So it helps in the growth or strength of hair and nails. It even can help inflamed skin, but it's if you are deficient in vitamin B. Selenium and glutathione was a recent addition, I believe, just about 2 years ago, and it is so powerful for creating this ampule as a more antioxidant boosting ampule. The selenium is a necessary mineral for the synthesis of glutathione, which is an antioxidant our bodies naturally produce. So not only are we giving your body more antioxidants, we're giving it more tools to synthesize more should it need to. And last but not least, we have that giant young pole extract for the anti-inflammation and hydrating properties we've seen with it in the skincare products. And so that concludes our overview of the Lifening products. And as I mentioned, there is so much more to come with this line specifically, so much behind the scenes that are almost near completion, but also so many ideas you have sent in about what you want to see next. So just know that this discussion is going to be lengthier in the future. We're going to have more products in store, but wanted to do another recap just to really hone in all of the specific details today. We identified supplements as a way in which you can fill in nutritional gaps and things like vitamin D, vitamin B, essentially deficiencies because of your daily diet. Many supplements that you take, along with many of the foods you eat, directly interact with your gut microbiome, which houses a diverse grouping of bacteria, virus, and fungi that can naturally exist in your intestines, and they regulate your gut and your bodily health. We specifically illuminated and really lauded, or not laud is not a word, but really edified, I guess, the gut brain and gut skin axis as crucial connections between your gut microbiome and your brain and your skin. Now, the gut brain axis is that direct connection between your gut microbiota and your brain, in which this bidirectional interaction and communication can directly affect your mood, and your mood can thusly affect your microbiome. Your gut skin axis is the similar bidirectional connection in which we've seen inflammatory mediators really determine the health of your skin and your gut, or the potential dysbiosis in your gut and the subsequent skin inflammation. Now, one of the greatest ways to maintain your gut health via your microbiome is to consume proper and enough fiber. And specifically, we prioritized prebiotic fiber. Fiber is found naturally in many of the things we naturally Fiber is found naturally in many of the things we eat, such as fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes. It's part of the plant foods that our body cannot digest, and there are two different types, being soluble and insoluble. Of course, with soluble being water soluble, insoluble moving through the digestive system. Many fibers are considered prebiotic fibers, but not all not all fibers are prebiotic, but all prebiotics are fibers. So they act as food for the beneficial bacteria to allow them to produce those necessary metabolites and neurotransmitters to directly modulate your brain and your skin health. The benefits of consuming prebiotic fibers include not only that gut regularity, but producing those neurotransmitters, stimulating hormone production that aid in appetite suppression, improving your immune system, and enhancing your anti-inflammatory response. We chose to prioritize psyllium husk as a prebiotic dietary soluble fiber to help support you in not only daily digestion, but in that microbiome maintenance, really honing in on the importance of the gut-brain axis and the importance of your gut microbiome to allow for a balance in your day-to-day, to thusly see it perhaps in your mood and in your skin health as well. It additionally contains zinc for that further immune support, but we also listed glucomannan and aloe vera, kudzu extract, butterbur, and many other ingredients. Now, alternatively, we also explored the specific segment of beauty supplements that are really designed to help you in the aesthetic goals of your day-to-day. So be it longer hair and nails or thicker nails, healthier and more glowing skin. And collagen supplementation is a specific type of beauty supplementation that is very popular in this day and age. While there are 28 different types of collagen, there's really five that are most relevantly or most prevalently rather supplemented. And type 1 is the most abundant at roughly 90% of your structural protein stores. Now, you can actually get collagen from some foods. You can also get the necessary building blocks to synthesize it should you need to. But you can also directly supplement collagen via collagen supplements. Now, there are many different sources of supplemental collagen, be it chicken, bovine, marine, and they all have unique profiles in what types they have, and also, of course, what the amino acid sequences are. We specifically utilized a marine-derived type 1 collagen that has been hydrolyzed into low molecular weight peptides. Hydrolyzation is crucial for that high bioavailability of these collagens, and we've added with hyaluronic acid, biotin, wheat ceramides, selenium, and glutathione, and giant young pool to really create a potent concentrated ampule for daily consumption and skin support from within. There's actually 20 different ingredients in the Beauty Collagen EX that were directly added to have benefit for your body. And so that finishes us out for the Lifening discussion today. So as per usual, I'm going to pause here so that you may scan the QR code should you wish. We are also dropping the link for the same worksheet in the chat. All right. Right, so it looks like I am missing my slide for next week, but next week is the big call. Next week, we are going over the comparison of Radiance 100 versus the dermatology line. How can you determine which line is best for you? How can you create a hybrid routine? How can you recommend products to a person based on their skin type? So even if you know individuals not signed up for Product University, I definitely recommend that they should sign up for this specific one because I often am asked in the ritual inbox, how can I determine what is next for me and my Riman skincare products specifically? So we will go over the key ingredients, the key technologies between the products, how they absorb differently, what they can do for the skin, which skin types they're appropriate for. So really great session in store for next week. But the week following is, of course, our Q&A session. So I'm starting to get more and more questions. Thank you to those of you that have sent in questions. If you have not done so, but you have a burning question, please feel free to email it in. Ritual@riman.com is my regular inbox, open to any of you for any reason, should you have a product inquiry or even concern. And we ask that you send it in by May 11th so that we may work with Riman HQ to really get concise answers to your inquiries. Of course, with the Q&A session, based on how many questions we get and what we go through, we might have a little chance for a live Q&A at the end, but we will see. So that is all for today. I appreciate you so much for listening. I get so amped up about the gut-brain, gut-skin axis. I am someone that experienced gut dysbiosis for many years of my life, so I am very passionate about how the things you eat and what you supplement can directly impact so many other factors of your life. And many of you may already know that Deep Talk is one of my favorite products for the way in which I saw improvement in my life. So I am so excited for next week. Next week is a fantastic topic, and I really think you'll find utility in it. But for tonight, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you next Wednesday.